Session here on colons, semicolons, and hyphens. So a punctuation session focusing on these three things. As everyone else has done through the day, a little sort of confidence score to kick things off. So how confident does everyone feel using colons, semicolons, and hyphens? So drop me a confidence score in the chat box, and I'll just record it on the screen to see what you guys think. So Steve is sort of middle of the road, 5. Okay, so 1, so not too confident there, Mikhail. No problem. And Tracy, we've got a 7. Oops, not an M, 7. Awesome. So Emma, 4. Okay, so we've got a whole range. All right, good. That's interesting. Just that gives me an idea. Great. So obviously we'll come and revisit this at the end and see how you feel then. Okay. So we did have a range. Obviously, we had a kind of a 1. So Michael, don't worry. Obviously, this may be new to you, some of this stuff, but obviously some people put 4s, 5s, 7s. What do we know already about colons, semicolons, and hyphens? So tell me anything that comes to mind. You can write the symbol in the chat box. You could tell me maybe what they're used for. Or if you've literally got no idea, you can just put no idea in the chat box. No. Silence. Okay, I'll take that as a as that no one's really got much of an idea. But don't worry, obviously that's why you're in the session. So 3 things now. Oh, and Steve. Second, see what pops up. All right, nice. So semicolon linking to independent words. So you've got pause or a break in a sentence. Okay, good. Absolutely. I won't write it on here because obviously we've got it in the chat and you can all see it in the chat anyway. Okay, lovely. So let's kick on then. Following straight on from that, we've just got a quick summary of the session objectives. So you're going to begin by using colons accurately in the writing. So that's one of the things you'll be able to do by the end of the session. Using semicolons accurately within your writing and using hyphens accurately within your writing. So yeah, basically being able to use these 3 bits of punctuation. That's the aim of the session. So at the top, it says purpose, and we've got a bit of a kind of chart on screen here, and we've got 3 punctuation symbols. So this first one just here, what's that one? No, we'll write this in. So which of the 3 is that? Colon, semicolon, or hyphen? Yeah, exactly. So that's a colon. So everyone knows what it looks like. And what about the middle one? So it's either a semicolon or a hyphen. Which one do we think it is? Yeah, exactly. Good. Excellent. And then that means the last one is your hyphen. So those are the 3 bits of punctuation we're looking at today. And down here, we've just got the jobs that these bits of punctuation do. So the first one, to introduce a list. Would that be the colon, the semicolon, or the hyphen? What do we think? So we've got a bit of a sort of unexciting quiz format going on here, no prizes, but multiple choice. So I'm just going to drink a water. What do you think? Okay, so you've gone for semicolon. So actually, when you introduce a list, you normally use a colon to introduce a list. And I can show you an example just here. So you've got today I ate, and then you've got the colon, and then you get the objects or the items in your list. So today I ate 3 apples, comma, a sandwich and a biscuit. So one of the main jobs of a colon is to introduce a list. What about this second one, to introduce an explanation, an idea, or an example? Okay, so Tracy's writing. Let's see what she thinks. So you've gone for a semicolon for that one. So people are kind of sticking with the semicolon. You'll get it right at one point if you keep saying semicolon. Okay, Steve's going. What's Steve going to go for? Semicolon as well. Okay, so to introduce an explanation, idea, or example, let's have a look under here. You can see he knew what his wish would be, colon, the ability to turn stones into gold. So again, when you're kind of introducing something, you generally use a colon. So whether you're introducing a list, whether you're introducing sort of an idea like this, whether you're kind of going to then go on to explain something, or if you're then giving an example, it might be a quotation or something like that. So that is generally the job of the colon, is to kind of introduce things to your sentences. So what about this next one? To link two words so that the word or phrase makes sense. Which one would that be? And I'll give you a clue. We're now done with the colon. So it's going to be either this one or this one. Tracy's gone for semicolon again. Just give Michael a second to finish typing. Yeah, so Michael and Cindy, you've both gone for hyphen. I can see Steve is typing as well. See, that's all right, Tracy. Hyphen, yeah, exactly. So here's some examples of words that you might use a hyphen with. So we use hyphens when we're looking at numbers. When you've got a word like 100, you don't use a hyphen for hundreds or thousands, but you do use it for kind of teens or 20s or 30s. So here we've got an example, 38. Also a word like ice cream or a word like good looking would use the hyphen as well. So sometimes we use hyphens for like clarity. So obviously good looking is would help if you've got a hyphen in there, because it clarifies what it is exactly you're saying. You're not saying that someone looked at something very well. You're saying that they're good looking. So those are the sort of three examples of the hyphen. So we've got that one in there. And what about these last two? So to join two sentences that have the same topic, what would that be? Semicolon, exactly. Well done, Tracy, good. So to join two sentences that have the same topic, that is your semicolon. And we can see an example of it here. The cat slept through the fireworks display, semicolon, the dog cowered under the bed. So this sentence is about the fireworks display. And because both parts are about the fireworks display, we can use a semicolon just to join them together, because they're kind of all really part of the same meaning. And you can see that the first bit before the semicolon, we've got our subject, the cat, and we've got our verb, slept. So we've got a simple sentence here. And then again, after the semicolon, we've got another independent sentence with a subject and a verb. So you use a semicolon when you've got two independent sentences, two sentences that make sense on their own, but that are about the same topic, and you can glue them together with a semicolon. So that's a really common use. And the final one, to write a complicated list, this is also a semicolon. And this is one of the more tricky things to sort of to get used to, but it is something that is quite good to be able to write, because it does come up quite a lot. You can see here, the sentence begins, attending today's meeting will be, and we use our colon to introduce the list. And what we've then got is basically, like, we call it a complicated item. So an item of the list that has kind of got more than one bit of information. So we've got Jackie from Dublin attending the meeting. You can see we've got a comma separating the two parts, but that bit in the list is separated by the semicolon. We've then got Terence from London, again separated by the semicolon, and we've got Seema from Bristol to finish off the list. So we use semicolons when we're writing complicated lists like that, for, again, mostly for clarity, because we've already got commas, so we don't want to use more commas because that would just be really confusing. So there we go. colons, semicolons, hyphens. These are the kind of the main purposes we use them. So really for the next sort of 10 minutes, we're just kind of a little practice at each of these and see how you get on. But has anyone got any questions before we sort of jump into a couple of practice exercises? Nope. Okay, cool. So let's jump on then to this one. So we're going to start off with colons. So a little practice exercise for you to try. It says below are a variety of sentences that need a colon. We've got two more, which we'll look at down here. In this first sentence, where should we add the colon? So tell me, which word would the colon go after? So you can just type the word in the chat box if you want. So where would we put the colon? Let me get a colon just here. Make it bold, and then we'll drop that into the sentence. Yep, so Emma and Michael, absolutely spot on. Good. So remember, we're introducing an example. So the opening lines of Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities is memorable. So we're going to put the colon there because after the colon, we're going to give the example. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So colons are used to introduce an example, a quotation, something like that. Let's try the second one. Where would we put the colon in this sentence? Colon, and we'll drop that in when we know where it's going to go. Okay, so a few people saying after available. Yeah, so Steve agrees as well. Cool, exactly. So just a few coloured pencils were available. So there's our colon in there, absolutely right. And then we've got our list, green, orange and purple. So again, colons are used to introduce a list. And the final one, where are we going to put the colon in this sentence? Excellent, well done everyone, really good. Yeah, so that was a tricky one. So no one knows me like my mother, and then we put a colon, whoops, in there. Not my sister, my best friend, or my father. So colons are used to introduce examples, to introduce lists, and then also to introduce ideas or explanations. So this would be a kind of explanation of that idea. Good, well done. So there we go. That's some practice at using colons. Next thing we're going to look at are semicolons. So what I've got here is a complicated list. You can see the start of the list. During our vacation, we will visit, and then we've got these kind of countries and cities, and we want to organize this into a complicated list. So in the chat box, and obviously I'll give you a little bit longer because there's quite a lot to write. See if you can write me a complicated list. So you can use what we've got here and just order it into a complicated list. So I'll give you maybe like 30 seconds or so to do that. See how you get on. And obviously it doesn't matter the order, but we want to have it sort of punctuated accurately. So I can see everyone's typing away, good stuff. All right, well done, Michael. Let's have a look and see what you've done. Yeah, nice, well done, Michael. So possibly, yeah, put your comma after Paris, but you've got it right, exactly. So Paris in France, and then your semicolon, Rome in Italy, and Vienna in Austria. Good. Paris in France, Rome in Italy. Good, well done, Maria, that looks good as well. So yeah, we do often use the comma to kind of break up those kind of list items just to give a little bit more clarity as well. Yeah, good. Well done, Tindy. Good, well done, Steve. Sorry, I'm just reading your messages. And yeah, nice. That looks great. Exactly. So it should look something like this. So during our vacation, we will visit. So obviously this bit in black is the first bit with the colon introducing the list. And then you can see I've just color coded the items. So we've got Paris in France. So we've got Paris, comma, in France. And then you've got your semicolon to sort of finish that part of the list. And then Rome in Italy, again, semicolon to finish that part of the list. And Vienna in Austria, again, with a little comma in there. Some people like to put a semicolon, obviously before the last item. Some people don't. It's kind of your choice. That one is flexible, but that's really good. Well done. So that's writing a complicated list. Down here, we have got the other reason for using a semicolon, which is to join two sentences that are about the same topic. So whereabouts are we going to put the semicolon in this sentence? And let me draw, in fact, I can just copy this semicolon from here. There we go, and I'll drop that in when you guys are ready. So what have we got? Yeah, there we go. There we go, that's kind of zoomed in on that sentence. Hopefully that helps, Cindy. Good, so I can see some great answers coming through. Well done, thanks Emma. And Tracy's typing, so I'll just give her a second more. All right, good. Yeah, so everyone's gone for the word having, and you're all absolutely spot on. So it's going to go in here. So what an awful rainstorm we've been having. I don't think the weather will be any better tomorrow. So again, we've got two independent sentences about the same topic, and they're glued together by a semicolon. Excellent. I will zoom in again, Tracy, when we do the next task, but I'll just zoom out to jump screens. All right, lovely. So we've done colons, we have done semicolons. So on to the last part, which is hyphens. So remember, hyphens are used to sort of glue, again, two words together to make sure they make sense. So this first one, it says write each number as a word using a hyphen where necessary. So how would you write 73 with a hyphen? So see if you can stick that in the chat box. Let me zoom in again to that. There we go. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Tindy. That looks really great. You can see Tracy and Michael are doing it as well. Yeah, lovely. Perfect. Well done, Tracy. Good. Yeah, and then we've got this number as well, 136. So if you've done the first one, have a go at that one as well. But yeah, you're all absolutely spot on. So that one is 73. So how would you write this one? 136. Excellent. Oh, no. So your hyphen is slightly in the wrong place there, Steve. Do you want to give that another go? Yeah, well done, Tunde. That looks great. Yeah, so John, that's good. So you've got your 36 right, but you don't actually need a hyphen when we write 100. So for hundreds, thousands, millions, you don't need it for that. You just need it for kind of the teens, 20s, 30s, and so on. Exactly, Steve. Yeah, perfect. Good one, and Emma. That looks great. And yeah, Michael, that looks good as well. Great. So there we go. So we would have 136. So we do use hyphens for numbers. That's one of the main things to use it for. And obviously we'll use that a lot in our maths. This one is a bit more of a brain teaser, but it's another good example of why we use hyphens. So which word should be added to which sentence? So we've got this here. Please can you something this petition? And then this one, I would like to something from my job. So which one are we going to put in which gap? All right, lovely. Good. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Emma. Yeah, nice. And you put the second one as well. Good. Yeah, well done, everyone. Really great stuff. So yeah, please can you re-sign the petition? And I would like to resign from my job. So really good. And again, nice kind of example of why we use hyphens. Excellent. So last part of the session. So we're well on time to finish at past, so that's good. But we have got a bit of an epic last question. So we've got two really long, well, we've got one really long sentence. So I had to sort of concoct a sentence that used colons, hyphens, and semicolons. So we have got quite a long sentence. But what I want you to do is tell me which of these sentences has been punctuated correctly. So I realise this may take a little bit of time, so I will give you kind of 2 minutes or so if you need it. Yeah, give it a go. Have a read of those three sentences. See if you can tell which one is correct, A, B, or C. All right, so we've got Steve with C, we've got Michael with B, we've got a couple of mixed opinions. Let's see what the others go for. It is a tricky question. So John's gone for B, Tracy's gone for B. Okay, most people gone for B. All right, let's Sophie's jumping in. Let's see what Sophie thinks.
Sorry, I hit my keyboard by accident.
Right. I thought you were going to have a go, Sophie. That's all right. No worries. Maria's gone for B as well. Okay, cool. Let's talk through it then. So we'll do it sort of process of elimination, I guess. Well, in fact, no, I won't. What I'll do is I'll just go through the correct version so you can see sort of how it should be done. And you are all absolutely right. The one that's correct is B. I'm going to use this square thing to cut off what I don't want to look at. So let's cut that off for now. And let's cut that off for now as well. So I'll just break this down so you can see sort of what's happened with this sentence, because it is a long one. It is quite complicated. So we've got what an awful party. So that is a simple sentence to kick things off. And we've got a semicolon because then after that, we've got another part of the sentence. There were 23 guests, but only 3 of them looked like they were having fun. So that's your semicolon to join two sentences about the same topic. What we then do is we introduce a list. So this is going to be a list of the people that look like they were having fun, the 3 people that look like they were having fun. So in this list, we've got Tamsin, who had drunk 3 bottles of wine, and then there's the semicolon to end that part of the list. Seema, who will dance to anything, semicolon stopping that part of the list, and poor Michael, who never normally gets invited anywhere, and that's the final part of the list. And then obviously we've got the hyphen in the word 23. So you can see up here that we've got a missing colon, and obviously this list isn't punctuated correctly. And then down here, we haven't got the hyphen in 23. And again, the list isn't quite punctuated correctly. So it would be B that's the correct one. So really, really well done. Like I say, that is quite tricky. And I guess you wouldn't normally write sentences that complicated, but it does give you an example of all of those 3 bits of punctuation. So to finish off, let's do a very quick recap. Let's start with the colon. So same question we had at the beginning. Why would we use a colon in our writing? There's 2 kind of main reasons. Good, well done, Steve, spot on. So to introduce, if I can actually type, to introduce a list. Very good. In fact, let's put it down here. And what other reasons might we use a colon? need to introduce a list because that's something we do quite a lot. But what else? Yeah, good. Introduce an idea. For some reason I can't write introduce today, but there we go. Good. Right, intro this one. So intro an example as well. Yeah. You might also say intro and explanation. So that's why we use a colon. Yeah, the main one is to use a list. That's what we use it for a lot. But I think we do use it a lot to give examples or to sort of build on ideas as well. So that's our colon. Then we have got the semicolon. So what do we use that for? Yeah, good. I'm going to put to organize a complicated list. So yeah, so when you're writing a complicated list, then you're going to use your semicolon, because otherwise you'd get overloaded with commas and it would get really confusing. So that's one. And what's the other one? Okay, well done, Steve. I can see you've got it. To join two sentences that have a similar topic. Exactly. There we go. Lovely. Really good. And then what was the last bit of punctuation we looked at? You can see it's covered up at the top of my screen, so you might have to remember it. The hyphen, exactly. And why do we use a hyphen? Yeah, good. To join two words together, basically, so that the sentence makes sense. Or to join numbers. I'll put that extra bit about the numbers in because obviously that's where we use them a lot. Yeah, well done. So obviously you're able to now explain sort of what these bits of punctuation are, and obviously doing the practice activities you've demonstrated that you can use them as well. So use colons accurately within your writing. You've all done that, so that's great. Use semicolons accurately within your writing. You've all done that as well. And use hyphens within your writing as well. And again, you've all used hyphens. So we've done all of those things, which is great. So moving on to the last part then, give me a score from 1 to 10. How do you feel about those three bits of punctuation? Awesome. So Steve, we've got an 8 and 9. And Maria, we've got an 8. Brilliant. Tracy, 9. Fantastic. Michael, a 9. That's great. So you were a 1 at the start, Michael, so that's good to see. And John, a 9. And Tundi, an 8. So they're recorded. Yeah, really, really well done. And I totally agree with you. Obviously, I've seen you've all given correct answers. So yeah, definitely I can see that you're feeling a lot more confident about those. In terms of what you can do next, if you want to practice this, so again, we've got skills forward, which you can use, absolutely. We've got more workshops, so if you're an internal learner, I'm often doing them, and I'm sure the other guys are as well. Also though, you can think about at work or home. So when you're writing emails, when you're writing letters, I would also encourage you to use proper punctuation in text messages, because it's good practice, because we text message all the time. Yeah, absolutely. There's also things like BBC Bitesize, which is really helpful. Obviously bits of punctuation that you need. And also, I'm just going to put Google in, because if you don't know how to use a bit of punctuation, you can literally type into Google, how do I use commas? And then there'll be tons of stuff on how to use commas. So yeah, with punctuation particularly, is something that needs a lot of kind of revision and revisiting, and you need to be using it or you're just going to forget it, because obviously it's not hugely interesting. So you're not going to hold it in your head the entire time. But it is something that you can kind of, you know, take a bit of independent learning on, you know, Google it, ask Siri, ask Alexa, whatever you need to do to obviously find out how to use it, and you'll get loads of examples online. And Paul's also put some good tips on there as well. Yeah, absolutely. So looking on websites, reading BBC News reports, yeah, and just reading books, reading newspapers, reading magazines, kind of noting how they punctuate things. That really is the best way to learn. It's all around you. So yeah, you can practice punctuation pretty easily, I think. Okay, I think that's it from me.